Welcome back. It's Yellowhammer Radio, Superstation 101 WYDE. Tweet the program, Yellowhammer Nation. It's at YHN Radio. Your calls as well, 866-551-9933. I am Scott Chambers.
I'm Andrea Tice.
And we are joined right now by Special Advisor to the President, Andrew Surabian. Welcome into Yellowhammer Radio. Andrew, how are you, man?
Hey, guys, I'm doing well. Thanks so much for having me today.
Yeah, we appreciate you being on the program today. Your hands aren't, tied. You don't have a lot going on up there in Washington right now, do you?
Oh, no, it's been a slow day. We don't have a superbly qualified Supreme Court nominee going through his hearing. We don't have an excellent repeal and replace Obamacare plan that's going to get a vote later this week. Nothing's going on.
Well, in that case, good talking to you. Take care, man.
Actually, I was going to say,
joking.
Let's hold you over for a couple of segments now, since you have all that time on your hands, Andrew.
Well, we do appreciate you being on the program today. Let's talk about Neil Gorsuch right out of the gate. He was on the Hill yesterday and today. And how's this going to turn out for Neil Gorsuch?
This is going to turn out with Neil Gorsuch being the next Supreme Court justice for the United States of America. I mean, we're talking a stellar legal mind. We're talking a constitutionalist. And we're really talking someone who has sterling academic credentials. I mean, we're talking the total package here. And that's why you've seen that it's not just people on the right or on the conservative side of things who, have positive things to say about Neil Gorsuch. It's people on the left. I mean, you even have liberal judges on the left, like Lawrence Tribe, who have come out and said that he was a great pick. And so what I think you're going to see is more Democrats than people may assume voting for his confirmation. Right now, he's going through the process. You have some people on the left that are trying to make a show of things. But at the end of the day, they know that he is a qualified Supreme Court justice, and I'm confident, and the White House is confident, that he will have the votes to become the next Supreme Court justice.
Andrew, you said making a show of things on the Democratic side. I agreed. Before the show, before we came on, I was watching it on C-SPAN, and Patrick Leahy was up, and he was trying his best to corner Gorsuch into the religious bans, and Gorsuch was just as cool as a cucumber, and he didn't even try to speak neutrally. He just came forward and said, I stand up for what the law is, and I will apply the law, and that was it. It was a sight to behold. He's doing well.
And that's because we're dealing with someone with the utmost integrity, with someone that's not looking to put his own personal opinion and make that law. We're talking about someone that is focused on upholding the law of the land, whatever that may be. And, yeah, you're right. I saw the same thing with Senator Leahy. But one thing that I think is funny is that in 2006, Senator Leahy, along with Senator Schumer, and I think a total of 12 current Democrat senators, all voted unanimously for Judge Gorsuch to be part of the U.S. Courts of Appeals for the 10th Circuit. And so a lot of these guys who are attacking him today voted for him in 2006. And I don't think you're going to be able to make an argument that from 2006 until now something came up that suddenly makes Judge Gorsuch unqualified.
Why do you think we're seeing some people on the left, though, bellyache like Leahy today? Because these guys have had plenty of time to question Neil Gorsuch. He's had private visits to their office. Why the bellyaching now?
I'm going to be honest. My view of it is that it has nothing to do with Judge Gorsuch. It's about trying to bring down this president, trying to bring down this administration, and score points with their liberal base by taking on President Trump's, selection for the Supreme Court. So in my view, that's really what this is all about. This is all about politics. This hasn't been about, unfortunately, who is the most qualified or who is a qualified potential justice to the Supreme Court. The left has decided to make this all about politics. But I think in the end, they're going to regret that because the American people can see right through it. They can see what's going on. And so if they keep this dog and pony show up, they're going to end up regretting it at the end of the day come 2018 when a lot of these same senators are up for re-election for Senate and House.
Yeah, I agree with you because there are people out there that, would side with the Dems, but they may not be interested in watching C-SPAN right now. Those who take the time and go watch it, like you said, can see right through it after 5-10 minutes of listening to Leahy. I was like, oh my gosh, you just need to give it up. It's really a backfiring move. I would agree with you on that.
Yeah, and like I said, and that's why we're so confident that we're not going to have any issues
Right.
with getting Judge Gorsuch confirmed. He will be the next Supreme Court justice for the United States. He's going to be an excellent replacement for Justice Scalia. He's a constitutionalist. He's someone who understands the damage that the administrative state has done to America and is committed to, fighting back against this idea that's taken over that, agencies and unelected bureaucrats should run our lives. And so I think he's someone at the end of the day, conservatives, Republicans, independents, libertarians, Democrats, and just the American people in general are going to be proud to have on the Supreme Court.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of the people that are dragging their feet now on the left, I think this comes back to Merrick Garland and what happened with the Republicans. I think that they're just trying to say, we're going to make you wait. I think that's what this comes down to, because when you look at the caliber of man that Neil Gorsuch is and you look at his legal history, I mean, this guy's flawless. I mean, you can't touch him.
And that's why they're not making the arguments on those merits. I mean, they're really not even trying to make the argument that, this is someone that, isn't qualified or doesn't have the qualifications to sit on the Supreme Court. What they're trying to do is they're trying to make him seem like an out-of-touch radical, which is just absolutely ridiculous. Like I said, they are putting politics above what the Supreme Court should be about, which is this person qualified to uphold the laws of the United States? Do they have a solid understanding of the Constitution? And will they apply that understanding, without any, equally and fairly? Will they apply that? And I think on all those accounts, Judge Gorsuch, it's pretty clear that he absolutely will, and that's why you see them scrambling, and that's why you see the left almost in a complete meltdown mode, because they know that they can't stop his confirmation in the end.
And with that confirmation, Andrew, with that process of them trying to slow it down, what's your best guess on just basically the timeline? Will Gorsuch be sworn in and in place by, are we talking next week or anything like that?
I don't know an exact, date, of course. These things can vary, but I don't know if it's going to be next week, but possibly the week after. But definitely, certainly sometime soon. I don't think this process is going to end up being held up too long, and I think over the next several weeks we'll have a Supreme Court justice confirmed to finally replace Justice Scalia.
All right. Well, hey, can we switch topics about the health care bill?
Absolutely. Our guest is Andrew Surabian, special advisor, special assistant to President Donald Trump, joining us right now from are you at the White House right now, or what building are you in, man?
Yeah, in the White House right now.
Very cool. That's a cool place to go to work every day. I come to a studio where it's really hot, and I have a sweaty producer who looks at me funny through the window. At least you're in the White House in a really cool place, man.
Yeah, in an office that's sweaty and hot.
Andrew, if you could see the looks I'm getting from my producer right now, they're not pretty.
Listen, being in the White House and coming into work for the American people every day is honestly the best feeling in the world. Everyone here is ecstatic to coming in as early as 7 a.m., staying as late until 11 to help pass President Trump's agenda to stand up for the American people. I mean, there's nothing not to love about that.
No, absolutely not. And speaking of passing his agenda, this healthcare thing is getting a lot of traction right now. I understand that the president this morning, and I'm basically paraphrasing here, but this morning, basically, the president told a group of Republicans that they need to come together, or 2018 is going to basically be rough if they don't come together on this healthcare deal, right?
Every Republican ran on repealing and replacing Obamacare. They've really run on that since 2010.
Mm-hmm.
Well, guess what? Now the time has come. Now the time has come to finally repeal and replace Obamacare. And I think at the end of the day, the vast majority of Republicans are going to be on board with that. Obamacare has been a complete disaster. Just over the last year, you've seen premiums go up by 25%. You've seen coverage choices, the amount of different choices people have for coverage drop by 28%. And so I think we can all agree Obamacare is a disaster. And I know we're really pleased to see all the support the bill has been getting. Last week, President Trump met with members of the Republican Study Committee. And for those that don't know, the Republican Study Committee is the largest caucus in the Congress, and it's the largest conservative caucus in the Congress. It's where all the conservatives, it's a group of conservative Republican members of Congress. And he met with, I believe, 9 members. And at the end of that meeting, the vast majority of those members who went into the meeting not sure if they were going to support the bill left the meeting saying that they were going to support it. And we're happy to have the chairman of the RSC, Mark Walker supporting the bill, along with so many other Republicans. I think at the end of the day, this is going to be a unifying piece of legislation. You're going to have people in the center, the people on the right, and you know what? Hopefully, we might even have a few Democrats. I mean, these people need to stop putting politics ahead of what's best for the American people. And if they do that for just 2 seconds, you might even see a few Democrats vote for the bill.
That would be interesting to see for sure.
Now, Andrew, last night the House Republicans made changes to the bill, and that's causing some people that may have been opposed to it to rethink it at least reconsider. Do you have any insight on those changes? Was Trump and the administration behind that with the House Republican leadership?
Yes, absolutely. So, I mean, President Trump has been meeting with some of the conservative members who may have had an issue with the first version of the replacement plan. He's been meeting with them for the last 2 weeks to, hear out their ideas. And, a couple of the things that they're incorporating into the bill came directly from those meetings, such as allowing states to have the ability to block grant Medicaid, allowing states to institute, work for service requirements into that funding. And so a lot of good things that conservatives have wanted for many years were included, to help. At the end of the day, President Trump, we have to remember, he's the king of the art of the deal. And what he wants to do is make a deal that unites the entire Republican Party behind this plan. I think that's just exactly what we've done.
That's really good to hear, because you want the whole Republican Party to be together on this, because they're up against, people that are going to be very resistant for no good reason, but just simply for the sake of resisting almost, and holding the legacy for Obama that has clearly failed, but they seem unable to admit it.
Yeah, absolutely. And, I don't think any Republican is going to want to be that one Republican vote that kept the albatross of Obamacare around the necks of the American people. I mean, that's why I'm so confident that this thing is going to pass. At the end of the day, I think everyone can link arms and agree that Obamacare is a disaster and it's time to try something different. And this is a plan that is going to lower healthcare premiums. The CBO, which is, obviously biased against us, even admitted that it was going to lower healthcare premiums. And it's a plan that's good for the American people. And that's what President Trump cares about. He cares about putting America first. He cares about putting the American people first, and that's exactly what this plan does.
Hardworking Americans need insurance, and Obamacare was not the plan they needed. As a small business owner myself, I was diagnosed with a brain tumor a couple of years ago. I was not on Obamacare, but my own insurance rates doubled. The copays went up. It was asinine. I can tell you from firsthand experience, Obamacare is a joke, and it has ruined our medical system. I am glad to see Republicans getting on board with this measure.
Yeah, me as well. And like I said, I believe this is an issue that unites all Republicans. It unites all conservatives, because everyone recognizes what a failure Obamacare has been. It was supposed to be something that actually gave health care to people and made health care more affordable. That's what the CBO said at the time. Obamacare would decrease premiums. You can keep the plan. Well, all that stuff turned out to be not true. It's been the greatest trick played on the American people, in my opinion, in my lifetime.
Amen.
I mean, you had people assuming that they would see their premiums drop. You had people assuming that they would be able to get easier coverage, and just the opposite has happened. You had people who thought that they would be able to keep their doctors, but at the end of the day, that wasn't true either. I mean, it's an absolute abomination. That's why we're so proud to finally push the bill to repeal and replace Obamacare.
Absolutely. In our final moment here, our guest is Andrew Surabian, Special Advisor to President Donald Trump. I want to change gears here for just a moment, if we can, and talk about Trump's 2018 budget. An article out yesterday on USA Today. These guys, Andrew, are basically making out like President Donald Trump wants to take Big Bird out on the White House lawn with a 12-gauge and absolutely just assassinate Big Bird.
And barbecue him.
And barbecue him as well. Why are people making out like the president wants to get rid of everything that's good and public funding of broadcast? Because I don't really see it that way.
Yeah, I don't think you're going to see President Trump roasting Big Bird over an open fire anytime soon. I think everyone can relax a little bit with all of that talk, but that's really what the left does. They distort and conflate things. So, just because we're defunding PBS, of course, Sesame Street is not going to go away. I mean, there's private funding. PBS, as of today, is funded by a lot of private funding and charity.
Right.
And so you'll just see that continue.
But go ahead. And even now, the Meals on Wheels issue, they've gotten all sorts of donations as a result of this. They're not going anywhere. It's a lot of hypocrisy and hyperness.
Andrew, we're down to our final 30 seconds. I hate to do this to you, but our producer will cut us off at the top of the hour. Hard break there. So we appreciate you being on the program with us. And if you run into a guy named Cliff Sims up there at the White House, tell him that we said hello here, okay? Is he tough to deal with?
Cliff is one of my best friends, and if I told you guys he was tough to deal with, he might be a little upset with me, but he's a great guy. He's doing great work here at the White House, and I really appreciate you guys having me on.